Do you feel like talking about Stardust Crusaders?
I'm gonna be honest. We can, but I'm not gonna have that much to say.
Okay. I guess just to update, because we finally finished part 3 of JoJo's Bizarre
Like
Adventure.
forever. It took
Like
forever.
today. It took a really long time because part 3 of the anime is like probably 10 episodes too long.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 seasons, and the first half is a little weak. Not as weak as I think I remember it being.
It's not horrible. But it's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be right.
Okay.
I think this will be one of the few seasons that I'm not gonna remember.
Of
The parts in general.
just okay, because part 3 is 2 seasons. It is 2 seasons.
I'll just
Just to the part. People usually just refer to the parts and not the
I'm just
seasons.
gonna refer to the part as is. It's probably not gonna be the one that I'm gonna hold at the highest regard. I'm gonna predict right now. I don't know what the rest of them it's gonna be like. I just think that I'm gonna enjoy the other ones more.
You know what's funny is that used to be a very unpopular opinion until more of the manga got adapted.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, generally it's been really interesting as someone who got into the series around 2016, 2017. Yeah, 2016. It was like a little after part 4 ended airing.
Okay.
Like that spring or something like that. Yeah, that would have been the timing. I remember the general consensus, the popular consensus was, oh yeah, just get through part 1 and 2 because Hamon's boring. And then the stands is when it's like real. The stands is when it gets good. Part 3 is also extremely popular in Japan. And
it seems to be the most popular in general because it's the one that's marketed the most in terms of like merchandise.
Yeah, if you're gonna make like, okay, when JoJo is in Jump Force, it's Jotaro and Dio, right?
Oh yeah, it seems like Jotaro or Dio are like the like when you think JoJo, those are the characters that you will think of.
When the manga was running, part 3 was like, I think the first 2 parts, well, they were successful enough to continue to a third part, right? Mm-hmm. To keep on carrying on, but part 3 was when it got really real. Like when the series got very popular and Jotaro became a very
almost
recognizable,
kind of like the mascot of JoJo.
Yeah,
he's like the main face of it.
He became a very recognizable shonen protagonist.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's, a couple of reasons. He has a very distinctive look. Mm-hmm. It's sort of where it's funny because part 3 is where he starts to draw the main JoJo having like one outfit.
Oh yeah,
right. Jonathan and Joseph like change outfits a lot.
Outfits, yeah, that's
because Araki loves fashion.
Uh-huh.
Jotaro is when he just designs like one look and it's a really strong look.
It's like Daria or something like that.
What?
Like just having like a general main outfit and kind of having it be like the most memorable outfit. I guess
that's just a really. I
was gonna say, I don't know, SpongeBob or something. Sure.
I just think it's funny you went to Daria first. Fuck! Are you getting a fucking call from your dad? Oh my god, I'm gonna pause the fucking podcast. Okay, Kat's ringtone is a remix of the D's Nuts clip.
Yeah.
And her dad called her to tell her to get more hours at work.
Yeah.
Stop being a broke bitch.
I'm not broke, thankfully.
Sorry, what the fuck was we... Anyway, I thought it was funny you went to Daria first as a comparison to Jotaro.
Yeah,
I thought you were like as a character.
I mean, I don't know. Sure.
But Daria would say good grief.
She would. Yeah.
Yeah. So part 3 was when the series kind of blew up in popularity, and it also like it introduced stands, which are one of the most iconic, influential things about JoJo.
I feel like this is the thing that JoJo's known for at this point.
Probably like one of the biggest it's especially now that the anime has become very popular. If a character ever has like a summon thing, people will just generically say, oh, it's their stand.
Yeah.
The same way any laser sword is like a lightsaber kind of thing.
Right.
Or the Force or something like that. Yeah, so a lot of people, part 3 is like the big one. I don't want to say there's like people don't hate part 3 now, but there is, I think, once you watch like the rest of the series, it's like, no, you can see he's like working on it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There is a long time spent in part 3 with him figuring out how he wants to write stands, and I think unfortunately a lot of the characterization takes a backseat.
Mm-hmm.
I think parts 1 and 2 actually have pretty strong characterization.
I think they actually... I'm not even really a big fan of parts 1 or 2, but they have better characterization.
Like Jonathan, Dio, Caesar, Joseph, even the Pillarmen, you know, Susie Q, like those are pretty... Speedwagon, like those are pretty memorable characters with like, oh, they have like a thing, I remember them, they're pretty likable. They're not very deep, but
they're memorable.
Yeah, they're memorable. I think Araki's really good at smacking you in the face with something very memorable.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about like the part 3 characters and I'm like, what do I have to say about Avdol?
That's funny. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, that's Avdol and Kakuan I think suffer the most from it.
Yeah.
Where
they have iconic moments, but like as characters, are you really going to remember them?
Yeah, it's like, I think there was kind of a I feel like Araki on rewatch, I feel like Araki wrote Avdol to be like, oh, this is gonna be like the mentor character, and then he realized that the way he wanted to write stands, like that's not really how it works. Like characters, and this is a thing going forward, characters don't really like grow their stands. It isn't like a regular shonen where it's like I'm learning a new technique. It's kind of just they have their stand.
And they use it.
And they use it in either the one way or they come up with new creative ways to use it, but it's them figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And it's their own cleverness.
Right.
And so Avdol, like, he feels like a mentor character who has nothing to teach.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like, I don't know, one of the few things, there's 2 moments that I point to and I say, I really think Araki should not have done this because I think it makes the story worse.
Okay.
The other one's in part 7 and it's a very, very long ways off.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't like that he brought Avdol back.
I feel like there was no reason to in general.
Yeah. So I think I told you there was a period of time where he was playing around with the idea of having Whole Horse join the crew. Which
I think I would have preferred.
You would have preferred because I like
Whole Horse.
We got to clean the seat whenever there's a Whole Horse episode.
God, yeah.
He didn't do it because he thought he would have been too similar to Polnareff in terms of like the group dynamic.
Sure.
And he just I don't know. He was like, it was his plan to bring Avdol back. Like it wasn't a spur of the moment thing, as a lot of people kind of assume it is, but it feels like a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Avdol's so black, he's the first one to die twice.
He was.
He is.
He was the first one to die twice.
Dude, when he came back and I was like, oh my god, is Kat gonna pop off because Avdol's back? The only thing you said was, he's black from the dead.
I did.
Is that a Cleveland Show quote?
I think that's a Cleveland Show clip that I said. Yeah. No, that's what they said when they brought him back after they canceled the Cleveland
black.
Show. I'm like, oh, cool.
That's what you said. Yeah. I like. Okay. I think I'll always like Joseph because he's such a scamp. Mm-hmm. He's such a lovable guy. I don't love Jotaro. How do you feel about Jotaro as a protagonist?
He's fine.
Yeah.
I definitely think he's gonna stand out, despite being the most. The one that people think of when they think of like the Joestars.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna be one of the ones I'm gonna remember the least in terms of personality.
The thing is, I don't want to color your perception like too much or your expectations, but Jotaro is like he's in the other parts.
Oh, is he?
He's in parts 5. He is in Jotaro's in part 4. Straight up.
Okay.
Which is like 10 years. Jotaro is in multiple parts. Sometimes in very small roles. Like in part 5, he's in there for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
But he shows up and you watch him get older.
Mm-hmm.
And part 6 is like he's Jolene's dad.
Right.
So you see him go from like 17 years old to like a 50-something-year-old man who's like a dad. And Jotaro as a character, I find very interesting when you examine him as like a whole over the course of his life.
Mm-hmm.
But as a protagonist, he is like a little minimal.
Yeah.
He's not doing a whole lot. He's there to be Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Who's his direct inspiration. I think he's fine. I don't know. I do like him a bit. Like, it is kind of fun that he just punches shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I love Polnareff. How did you feel about Polnareff?
I'd say either him or Joseph of the main cast were probably like the ones the most personality.
Yeah.
The ones that I found myself I mean, it seems like in general the writers really like Polnareff.
Yeah, it feels like Polnareff gets all the character development.
Yeah,
it feels like it all gets dumped onto him.
It feels like he's the main character at some points.
That's what I thought when I first watched the show.
I'm like, it's Jotaro, really?
Yeah,
Polnareff
feels. Funny enough, that also kind of happens in part 5.
And I know that he comes back in part 5. That's right.
Well, no. There's another character in part 5 who people kind of joke is the real main character.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I love Giorno a lot. I don't really agree with them with that, but that is kind of a thing where Araki will occasionally write sort of. He kind of alternates like hot and cold protagonists. Jotaro is a cold protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph would be a hot one.
A hot one. And
usually with the colder protagonists, he has another character who kind of fills the shoes of like the really active character.
Yeah, definitely.
Polnareff to me always felt like a kind of middle ground between Jotaro and Joseph, where he's like kind of a goofball by nature,
mm-hmm.
but he's got like he goes hard sometimes when he has to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like half of it feels like a third of the fights start with him going to the bathroom.
Yeah, I had to think about that one.
There's a point. Do you remember in like the fucking Mariah Bastet fight when Joseph goes to the bathroom? No, he says something like Polnareff's in the bathrooms, and then someone says something like, you know, when Polnareff goes to the bathroom, sometimes it doesn't turn out very well. It's like stuff happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm surprised there wasn't. Kakyoin, I think, also kind of suffers from him just being out of the story for a really long time.
Yeah, when they bring him back, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's here.
Yeah, he's out for a little too long.
A little too long, yeah.
I think that there should have been a fight where someone tried to attack him in the hospital.
Yeah, and somewhere they can reintroduce him and not just be like, oh, hey, you're back.
Yeah, which is how it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I think that at least one fight probably could have been like gone there
instead of him getting his dad literally killed by Dio immediately.
Yeah, no, because it's like well, okay, so first just to like finish my thought while it's still in my head because I'm coming up with it on the spot. But like, oh, what if he's in the hospital and he's getting attacked while his eyesight's still gone and he has to use like Hierophant's tentacles to like sense around and shit,
mm-hmm.
and like come up with some clever thing to defeat. And Araki really likes writing solo fights.
Yeah, it seems like something that's, you know, been a constant for part 3 especially, I've noticed.
Araki has said that his idea of like a hero comes from like American Western films.
Yeah, and I can tell.
And like Dirty Harry and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to him, because like there's a lot of shonen that's like power of friendship.
Yeah.
Araki is really into the idea that a hero is someone who has to be able to fight by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so
like Barnyard.
Exactly.
Strong man stands up for others.
Exactly. Like Ben when he pulled his stand out against those coyotes. Against Vanilla Ice. So that's
someone edit that.
Yeah. So even when there's like that's like a joke, like every like half JoJo fights are just like every other character standing around commentating while the main character does the fight. Oh yeah,
from beginning to end. Yeah. That's kind of a thing.
That's why. It's because to him that's like, well, they have to fight on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally they'll team up and stuff, but that's like very rare, and that's like prove a point about things.
Yeah.
usually about like the bond between two characters. Like Polnareff and Iggy. Like, oh, actually, they do like each other.
Right.
So, yeah, it is just kind of like Kakyoin just sort of shows up and it's like, oh, fuck, Kakyoin's back.
Yeah.
Cool. And then all he does is the next fight he's involved in is getting his soul taken out by Darby the Younger and then getting hole punched by Dio.
It's like, okay.
Well. He does reveal the secret. His best moment is easily the 20-meter emerald splash. Yeah. So that's like his maximum. That's like his level 3 super in like every fighting game he's in. Is that scene essentially? Because that's like his one big moment. You liked Iggy.
Yeah, I like dogs. You know.
You like the doggy. You like that he farted.
I like that he farted.
That cat loved it when Iggy would fart on people's faces.
Yeah.
It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you said you didn't have that many thoughts on part 3.
I don't have much to say. That could change for the other parts, but here I'm like, it's fine.
A lot of part 3 is in like the rigmarole of week-to-week stand fights.
Yeah, and some of them will just kind of vary. Some of them I'll be like, oh, that was
fun. There's some fun ones.
There's some. I'm not saying that
even in the first half.
I'm not saying that there isn't, but most of it's just like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah,
fine.
There's some cool episodes. It's just, I think part 3 easily has the most fights in the series. I want to say.
And it kind of gets a little tiring.
Yeah, there's like too many. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it has the most. Part 4 maybe has an equivalent, but part 4 is... It feels... Every time... You'll see. It's handled differently.
Okay.
In part 3, it's kind of one and done. In part 4, I guess... This isn't really a spoiler, but... They'll have a fight with someone... And then that person just kind of shows up again and is like a member of the main cast. Okay. And it kind of builds... The fights serve to like build out the setting.
Sure.
And it feels a little... Yeah, it feels better in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I don't know. Maybe I just like my anime more if you have memorable characters with personalities that I can latch onto.
I think he gets a lot better at that as the series goes on.
I that's why I have a thing for like my dungeon meshies or my don to dons.
Oh,
I know you don't agree with
that.
Sorry,
no, I'm not gonna say anything.
I know you're not gonna say anything, but like having a memorable cast, I think helps me like your show more. Stardust doesn't have the most memorable group of characters, but
no,
maybe that'll change with the other parts. We'll see. I'm sure. By the time that I get to like the other parts,
Araki gets so much better at writing group dynamics.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Part 5 is practically like him redoing the structure of part 3, but what if everyone was really fun and memorable? That's part one of the reasons I love it so much.
That's what I'm looking forward to see if this improves, and I'm sure it will.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did. I was really excited to see your reaction to when they do the special version of the opening with the time stop.
You're a nerd.
That's so cool. I remember when I saw it, I was like,
what?
It's cool. They fucking, whoa. That's cool. So neat. Yeah. So I don't think I had anything else to talk about with Stardust Crusaders or anything else on the agenda. Do you have anything you wanted to bring up?
No.
About anything?
See you at part 4.
See you in part 4.
I don't know how it'll turn out, but I'm sure it'll be fun.
And I don't think you have anything else you want to talk about, unless you do.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much it.